you guys might not know this, but Drive You Home, the whole song is actually... 大家好，欢迎来到小咖的稀奇课乐频道。今天我们再一次有翻译视频，我给翻译到王嘉尔的 Drive You Home 视频。有好多人在我的以前的 Pan the Pack 翻译视频让我做这个视频，他们要知道我有什么印象。可是因为我要给你们最多的资料，我会用英文。对不起，我的中文水平是不够了。So 我会讲英文，如果你听不懂，你可以写一个评论，我可以翻译一下，或者别的听众可以帮我翻译，放字幕在不容易听得懂的东西。其实我很喜欢这个歌，我追的是王嘉尔的最高的，不是最高之一，是最高的，是 number one。So yeah, so far best so far， 比 Pan the Pack 更好。其实我们开始之前，我要说一个很重要的几句话。Actually, you guys might not know this, but Drive You Home, the whole song is actually a remake or inspired by, or it's kind of a remix of an existing very classic rock song from the 80s, which is called Drive by the Cars. So if you've never heard it, here's kind of a key part from Drive. Who's gonna drive you home tonight? Yeah, and here's Drive You Home. 'Cause who's gonna drive you home when you've had a... So there's no doubt that they're connected, and actually I think even in the credits for Drive You Home, they list the Cars composer. So it's actually pretty cool. I don't know if a lot of Jackson Wang fans even know this, but when I heard the song, like the first time I heard it, I was like, where do I know this from? And Drive You Home is a line in both songs, so it's pretty obvious. So it didn't take too long for me to figure out. And then I looked up about Drive You Home, the Jackson Wang song, and it actually says that it's like 80s inspired and it's retro on purpose. So it was clear that it was inspired. And as I said, they even credited in the like production notes for the song. So that's great. It's not plagiarism at all. It's an homage, if nothing else. So it's more like a remix, like you have new versions of old songs, or you have completely new songs that use the bass line from a previous song. Okay, anyway, let's get started. Okay, so there's one other really important thing, which is the fact that this MV is told backwards. Like scenes that are told in the wrong order from newest to oldest. Okay, so Jackson is working at an office. So keep in mind, this is, now that we know that that's what's happening, this is actually the end of the story. And he's starting to work at a cubicle. He's way too handsome to be working in an office. And he put some girl's picture on his desk. And wait, now we're at night. You think it's that night, but it's actually before. And he's all beat up. What happened to Jackson? Hey, Jackson, get off the ground. So he got kicked out of a club, and that's why he's beat up. Or is it? So I actually really like this narrative device. It's not completely unique to this. There was even a Seinfeld episode from season 9 where the whole thing is like told in reverse. So the first scene is actually that last scene. Homemade video? Oh, so yeah, here's the bar fight that got him kicked out. And he's clearly... So like these parts, some of these are actually look like they're actually played in reverse, but not all of them. Okay, now he's spitting blood out, but he's not in the club. He's in the middle of the road. Okay, what's up with that? What happened to you, Jackson? Is this before you got beat up? You were already beat up? It was actually quite bloody. That's like, that's pretty serious. Whatever happened to him. Okay, people are honking at him like, hey, bloody guy, get out of the street. You're blocking traffic. I don't think those cars on his side would be going that slow if they could go around him. Ouch, it's like he got sort of stabbed in the chest. Okay, so this is interesting. He's like, you know, he's got his modern dance scene in the middle of his highway drama. But that's, you know, representing his passion and his sorrow and his pain, I guess. Oh, I wanted to mention this too. Geary Boulevard is actually in San Francisco. I used to live in San Francisco. And here he actually says more like Gary, but it's Geary. It's where Japantown is. Okay, who's in this? Oh, there's some burning car and there's a dead girl. Hold you my hand from the passenger's side. So he wanted to drive her. He is driving her home. Now we're back again. And then apparently got in a crash. And then got in a fight in a bar somehow. And then got thrown out. And then worked in an office. Okay, I'm keeping up with you. Okay, so here's your romantic part. This is the one obviously the female fans want to see. I want to be that girl. I want to be driving in Jackson's car. Looks like he's wearing sunglasses at night. That's not a good idea. Maybe that's why he crashed. Okay, now, I guess before they were driving home, they were in the club and they were making out. And it looks like he's changed his jacket. Here he's got a red jacket on. Here he's got a black shirt on. So maybe that's multiple times they went out. And then, so now he crashed. So maybe while they were driving, he was thinking about the club and then he crashed. And that's the beginning. Okay, I'm just way too confused now. So a little bit hard to follow, but I guess if I do a post-mortem on here. He was in love with this girl. They went to clubs. Then he drove her home. At some point they crashed. She died in his arms as the fiery car was overturned and burning. And then he decided to go to a bar to drown his sorrows while he's still pretty messed up. I don't know if that was like exactly right after or he washed up and then he was still kind of bruised. And then he got in a fight because he got drunk because he was so depressed about losing his love of his life. And then they threw him out. And then he got up and decided to, I guess, walk it off and go back to work. And he became a happy worker bee in the cubicle from hell office, you know, whatever that was at the beginning. So, pretty interesting. I mean, for like a, whatever it was, like a 4 or 5 minute MV, it's got a lot of stuff in it. I mean, I usually talk about like the production side of these things also. You know, actually it's mostly green screen. I guess they filmed a little bit on the road and in the office and stuff like that in the club. But like, you know, not that expensive, not that, you know, not crazy sets like you see in the Panda Pack Buzz video, for example. But you actually cram a lot of stuff in there. Like the, you know, narrative is actually quite good, partly because of the reverse thing makes it more interesting. So like this is the kind of MV that you could watch at least 2-3 times just to pick up on all this stuff. Like, oh, that picture he put out at the beginning, which was actually the end, wasn't just his happy girlfriend or whatever, it was his dead girlfriend, right? And that's why he was drunk. And that's why he was painfully dancing in the street, was because the love of his life, who he had that really romantic scene at the dance club, wearing 2 different jackets for some reason, was, you know, horribly murdered in the crash because, I don't know, he was so in love with her, he's holding her hand while he's driving, he wasn't paying attention or something. I don't know, I have to go back and watch the crash scene to try to figure out exactly what happened there. I wonder, like, how did they come up with this? Pretty good idea, good execution. It's a good song, and like I said, like the Cars tune that it builds off of is a classic, so yeah, you can't go wrong, I guess. And I'm kind of curious, like, did they write the lyrics first and then think of this as like, you know, how do I make a visual interpretation of the feeling of the song? I know we'll do a reverse chronology tragic love story. It's kind of you know, it's pretty creative. I haven't seen that in an MV. I have seen it in some, you know, it's been in movies and TV shows before, but nothing like this. So thumbs up, 2 thumbs up for Jackson and his team. on doing a pretty cool job. And as I've said, I've actually had this discussion with my friends and colleagues. Like, we think this is the best Jackson Wang song to date, at least as far as the ones I've heard. I haven't heard all of his K-pop group ones and stuff like that. But as far as his solo work, this is the best one I've seen. Okay, so that's it for today. See you guys next time. 对不起，我的英文是讲的太多，我的中文讲的太少。如果你们要我翻译，给我一个评论。再见。Welcome back to Obscure Cola. Today we're going to try Coca-Cola Apple. I'm here with my son in Japan. Just got this at a Family Mart today. Apparently Coca-Cola